My name is Natalie Rowland. I'm 34 years old. And I didn't realize my marriage was already over when my phone lit up with a text that looked gentle. Stuck at mom's for dinner. Love you. There was a heart emoji at the end. I remember noticing that first, how deliberate it felt, like punctuation, like he'd added it to make sure the lie landed softly. 3 days have passed since that night, and I still can't line the memories up without my chest tightening. Writing it down is the only way to stop replaying it in fragments. His laugh, the clink of wine glasses, the moment my body knew before my brain did. Because what happened next wasn't just betrayal. It was staged. Last Thursday started like any other. I work in sales for a medical equipment company, and one of my largest clients wanted to celebrate closing a major deal. He chose an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. White tablecloths, low lighting, menus without prices. The kind of place that makes you sit a little straighter. Around 4 p.m., I texted my husband to let him know I'd be late. His reply came quickly. Perfect timing. Mom called. She's feeling lonely. Going to have dinner with her tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Nothing about it raised alarms. His mother lives about 40 minutes away. He sees her maybe twice a month. It was plausible. I didn't think twice. The restaurant seated me early since my client was running late. A corner booth. Quiet. I was scrolling through emails when I heard it. His laugh. My husband has a very specific laugh. Sharp, almost high-pitched, and when something really gets him, it ends with this involuntary snort he's always been embarrassed by. I've heard it thousands of times. Hearing it there made my head snap up before I could stop myself. 3 tables away. He wasn't with his mother. He was with her, a woman I'd never seen before. Mid-30s, fit, polished. The kind of confidence that takes up space without asking permission. They were sharing a bottle of wine. I watched as he reached across the table and touched her wrist. Then her cheek. Then she leaned in and kissed him. Not a peck. A kiss. Something inside me went quiet. Not numb. Empty. Like someone had pulled the plug on my nervous system. The waiter asked if I wanted water. I nodded without looking. My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip my phone with both of them. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. I don't know why. Shock, maybe. Or instinct. Or the part of me that suddenly understood that scenes don't protect you. Evidence does. So I angled my phone carefully and took a photo. Clear. His hand on her waist. Her mouth on his. Timestamp visible. Then I opened our text thread. Enjoy dinner with your mom. Attached the photo. Hit send. I watched him check his phone. Casual at first. Then his phone hit the table. The sound was loud enough that people turned. His face drained of color. He scanned the restaurant wildly. Desperate, frantic. And then our eyes met. I've never seen panic like that. Not fear. Panic. The look of someone who realizes there's no version of the story where they get out clean. I stood up, left cash on the table for the untouched water, and walked out. I didn't say a word. I didn't look back. I don't remember the drive. That's the part that scares me most when I think back on it. Not the restaurant, not the kiss, not even his face when he realized he'd been caught. It's the missing time between the valet stand and the moment I pulled over on a dark side street 20 minutes later, hands locked on the steering wheel like I was bracing for impact. My phone was vibrating nonstop in the cup holder. I didn't look. I couldn't. If I looked, I might answer. And if I answered, something irreversible would come out of my mouth. Something loud or desperate or cruel enough that it would become the version of the story he'd tell everyone later. So I drove. I drove until the city thinned out and the streetlights got farther apart, until the shock wore off just enough for nausea to take its place. When I finally checked my phone, there were already 12 missed calls. All from him. Texts stacked on top of each other, tumbling in fast enough that my screen kept scrolling. Natalie, please call me. This isn't what it looks like. I can explain. Where are you? You're scaring me. Scaring him. That almost made me laugh. I booked a hotel room from the parking lot, the kind right off the highway with beige walls and silence that feels padded. I didn't want anything familiar. I didn't want anything that remembered me. I turned my phone off and slept maybe 2 hours total. Not real sleep. The kind where your body shuts down, but your brain keeps replaying the same 3 seconds on a loop. His hand on her waist, her leaning in, the sound of his phone hitting the table. When I turned my phone back on the next morning, the number stunned me. 38 missed calls, 52 text messages. The tone had shifted overnight. Panic had burned itself out and left something sharper in its place. You're overreacting. She's just a coworker. It was one stupid moment. Why won't you answer me? This is so unfair. And then, about halfway down, the line that rearranged something in my chest. Maybe if you were home more, this wouldn't have happened. There it was, the pivot. Less than 12 hours from please come home to this is your fault. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my older sister Rachel. She answered on the first ring. I'm coming to your place, I said. My voice sounded calm, which surprised me. I don't want to talk yet. I just need somewhere to land. You don't have to explain, she said immediately. Come now. Rachel is 2 years older than me and has always been aggressively allergic to nonsense. The kind of woman who reads contracts for fun and can spot emotional manipulation the way some people spot spelling errors. I packed a bag that morning like I was preparing for a natural disaster. Essentials only. Clothes, laptop, charger, toiletries. Then I went back to the house. Our house. The one I'd bought 3 years before we got married, using inheritance money from my grandfather. His name wasn't on the deed. He'd never let me forget that I was lucky to have it, though. Said it like the universe had gifted it to us, not me. I waited until his car was gone. Then I opened the safe. Passport, birth certificate, social security card, the original deed, insurance paperwork. Each document felt heavier than it should have, like it carried proof of who I was before everything got blurred together. I left without taking anything sentimental. No photos, no keepsakes, no wedding album. I didn't want to argue with ghosts. By the time I reached Rachel's place, my phone was buzzing again. I blocked his number as I sat in her driveway, hands finally starting to shake now that I wasn't alone. He must have realized it quickly, because at 8:17 p.m., Rachel's doorbell camera pinged. He was standing there, hair uncombed, jacket thrown on over a t-shirt like he'd rushed out without thinking. He looked wrecked in the way men do when they think remorse should be enough to rewind time. Rachel answered before I could stop her. I was in the shower, water pounding against my temples, when I heard voices. Where is she? He demanded. I need to talk to my wife. Rachel didn't raise her voice. She doesn't want to talk to you. You can't keep her from me. I'm not. She's choosing not to see you. I shut the water off and wrapped myself in a towel, heart hammering as I listened. This is ridiculous, he said. It was one dinner. One dinner where you were kissing another woman while lying about being with your mother, Rachel replied evenly. I've seen the photo. We've all seen the photo. Silence. Then movement. The sound of him trying to step forward. Rachel didn't budge. You need to leave, she said. Now. This is between me and my wife. And she doesn't want to see you. Leave before I call the police. He left eventually. But not before yelling that Rachel had always hated him, that she was poisoning me against him, that none of this would be happening if people would just stay out of our marriage. Rachel locked the door and leaned against it. You didn't imagine anything, she said when I came out. Whatever you're thinking right now, trust yourself. That night, I slept on her couch. For real this time. Monday morning, while he was still sending messages through mutual friends, I sat in a quiet office across from a divorce attorney Rachel had vetted personally. She looked at the photo once. Just once. Then she nodded. Classic, she said. They always think they're smarter than they are. By Tuesday morning, my life had split into columns. Before, after. My attorney filed the paperwork quietly, efficiently, the way you handle something that already died and just needs to be documented. I didn't tell him I was filing. I didn't warn him. I let the process do what emotions couldn't. He was served Wednesday afternoon at his office. According to my attorney, he didn't take it well. Apparently he went pale, asked to step outside, then started crying loudly enough that HR escorted him into a conference room for privacy. Part of me felt a flicker of guilt when I heard that. Then I remembered the text where he told me this was my fault. That guilt burned off fast. I went back to the house that same day. My house. I changed the locks first. Not out of spite, out of advice. My attorney had been clear. Protect your property, establish residence, don't invite chaos back in. That night, just after 9 p.m., the doorbell camera lit up. It was him. He stood there staring at the door like it had personally betrayed him. Pressed the key into the lock once, twice. Nothing. His confusion was almost theatrical. He knocked hard. Natalie, he called. Open the door. I cracked it just enough to keep the chain on. This is my house, he said immediately. You can't lock me out. The deed is in my name, I replied. My voice sounded steadier than I felt. My attorney advised me to secure my property. Your property? He scoffed. I've lived here 6 years. You moved out Friday, I said, when you chose to stay with your mother. His face flushed. That's not fair. Neither is lying to your wife while kissing someone else 3 tables away. Silence stretched between us. I want my things, he said finally. Schedule a supervised pickup through my attorney. Supervised? He laughed sharply. Are you serious? You tried to force your way into my sister's house, I said. I'm not letting you in here alone. I watched the calculation flicker across his face, the moment he realized tears weren't going to work. You're making a huge mistake, he said quietly. I'll take you for everything. You can try. I closed the door. He stayed on the porch another 15 minutes before leaving. The next call came from his mother. She'd never liked me. From the start, she'd made it clear she thought her son had settled. A saleswoman wasn't what she'd envisioned for him. He should have married someone flashier, more impressive. You need to stop this nonsense, she said without preamble. No, I replied. Hello to you too. My daughter-in-law made a mistake. You forgive mistakes in a marriage. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, I said. Your son has been having an affair. He said it was one dinner, one moment of weakness because you're never home. People don't French kiss coworkers in upscale restaurants, I said calmly. And even if they did, lying about it is still cheating. You women are all the same, she snapped. Can't handle a man having a life. His life can include not being married to me, I said. Hence the divorce. She hung up on me. That night, at my attorney's suggestion, I started digging. The woman from the restaurant hadn't been careful. She was tagged in photos with him on Instagram. Always group shots, always innocuous captions. A little LinkedIn sleuthing and a public records search filled in the rest. She was married, 4 years, 2 young kids. I stared at her wedding photo longer than I should have. Then I sent an anonymous email. No commentary, no accusations. Just the photo. And one sentence. Thought you should know. Check her Thursday nights. If I was going to burn, she was coming with me. I underestimated how ugly it would get once the lies started collapsing. The affair partner's wife got the email. That much became obvious within days, not because anyone told me directly, but because the aftershocks rippled outward in every direction. From what my attorney pieced together through subpoenas and public filings, the confrontation had been explosive. The woman denied everything at first, called it fake, claimed I'd manipulated the photo. Then her husband checked the phone. Turns out my husband wasn't the first. Divorce papers followed within a week, and suddenly, the fantasy my husband had been living inside shattered. Because the plan, the real plan, started leaking out shortly after. My attorney subpoenaed phone records as part of discovery. When she laid the transcripts out across her desk, her expression didn't change, but I could tell she was almost impressed. Not by them, by how stupid they'd been. 8 months. That's how long the affair had been going on. 8 months of late nights, work dinners, girls' nights, and yes, plenty of dinners with his lonely mother. But it wasn't just sex. It was strategy. Text after text, the two of them mapped out how the divorce would go. What he'd ask for. What she'd fight. What she believed she was entitled to. One message stood out. She's so clueless. By the time I'm done, I'll have the house, half her retirement, and alimony for years. Then we can finally be together for real. I didn't feel anger when I read that. I felt cold. My attorney exhaled slowly. This, she said, tapping the page, changes everything. Because while adultery alone doesn't always move the needle in our state, documented intent to financially exploit a spouse absolutely does. We filed a motion with the text attached. That's when he escalated. Week 2, I got a call from HR. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint alleging I'd been aggressive and threatening toward a female colleague. It was laughable, if it hadn't been terrifying. I work remotely most days. I barely interact with anyone in person. HR investigated, interviewed my team, checked messages. No evidence, case dismissed. But the damage was done. The anxiety lingered like a shadow. 2 days later, a police officer knocked on my door. My husband had filed a report claiming I was stalking and harassing him. The officer listened politely as I explained. Then I showed him the doorbell footage. Him pounding on my door, yelling, refusing to leave. He took notes, promised to follow up. No charges. But my heart didn't stop racing for hours. Week 3, he hired a new attorney. More aggressive, more theatrical. They filed for temporary spousal support, claiming he was financially dependent on me and couldn't survive without assistance. Let me be clear. My husband makes $75,000 a year as a marketing coordinator. His car is paid off. He has retirement savings. And he was living rent-free with his mother. My attorney responded with pay stubs, account statements, and a reminder that he had chosen to leave the marital home. The judge denied temporary support. Then came the family assault. His mother started calling everyone I knew. My parents, my sister, even my aunt, who'd met her maybe twice. Same script every time. I was vindictive. I was overreacting. I had driven her son to this by being a workaholic. My mother shut that down fast, apparently with language I didn't know she possessed. His sister tried to contact Rachel for information. Rachel told her to lose the number. Then his father called. First reasonable voice from his side. "I'm not calling to yell," he said. "I just want to understand." So I told him everything. The restaurant, the photo, the texts. Long silence. "That's not what we were told," he said finally. "He said you were emotionally distant, and he had one dinner with a coworker." "Does that sound like something worth divorcing over?" I asked. "No," he admitted quietly. "It doesn't." He sighed. "I'll talk to his mother. I can't promise it'll help." I thanked him. That conversation hit harder than I expected. But sympathy doesn't pay legal fees. And by week 3, day 6, my husband texted me directly from a new number. "Can we talk without lawyers? We're wasting so much money." I didn't respond. That night, he left a voicemail. Slurred. "You think you're so smart," he said. "You don't know everything. I have things, evidence. You should think real hard about how you want this to go." My attorney listened to it once. "What things?" she asked. "I have no idea." "Then it's a bluff," she said, "and desperate people bluff loudly." That's when I stopped playing defense. The first hearing stripped away the theater. No dramatic speeches, no emotional appeals. Just facts, read aloud in a room that didn't care how loudly anyone felt them. My husband's attorney started with what they'd been hinting at for weeks, the evidence he'd threatened me with, screenshots of old arguments, texts where I'd said things like, "I'm exhausted," or "Can we talk later? I'm in a meeting." They tried to frame them as emotional abuse. The judge didn't even look up at first. Then she did. "These," she said slowly, "are normal marital disagreements. Nothing here constitutes abuse." The air shifted. Plan A was dead. So they pivoted. Hidden assets. They demanded full financial discovery. Forensic accounting. Subpoenas. I agreed without hesitation. My finances are boring. Salary, 401k, savings account. That's it. 3 weeks later, the accountants confirmed exactly that. Nothing hidden, nothing missing. Meanwhile, the text between my husband and his affair partner stayed on the record. Every message, every calculation, every reference to me as a meal ticket. The judge read them all. Her expression never changed, but something in the room did. The rulings came quickly after that. The house stayed mine. Separate property purchased before marriage with inherited funds. The kitchen renovation argument earned him $12,000, not the 6 figures he'd demanded. Retirement accounts were split for the portion accrued during the marriage. I lost about $87,000. Got back $21,000 from his. Net loss, painful, legal. Then spousal support. His attorney asked for $3,500 a month for 5 years. My attorney countered with pay stubs, savings, living arrangements, and the texts where he'd openly planned to exploit me financially. The judge awarded 18 months of rehabilitative alimony at $1,100 a month. Total, about $20,000. He actually gasped. And then, the final blow. His affair partner. Her divorce finalized first. And karma, it turned out, had excellent timing. Her husband was the higher earner. She lost the house. She paid child support. She paid alimony. She moved back in with her parents at 36. They broke up 2 weeks before my divorce was finalized. My husband tried to use that as proof he'd learned his lesson. The judge wasn't impressed. The final hearing ended on a Tuesday. No gavel slam, no dramatic exit. Just paperwork, signatures, and a quiet acknowledgement that something once believed permanent had been reduced to files and numbers. As we were leaving the courthouse, his attorney stepped away to take a call. Mine was already halfway down the hall when I felt him hesitate behind me. "Natalie," he said. I turned. He looked smaller. Not physically, just stripped of the certainty he used to carry so easily. The confidence that had once made me feel safe now looked like something he'd misplaced and couldn't find again. "Was it worth it?" he asked. "Destroying everything we built?" I studied his face, searching, genuinely, for the man I'd married. "I didn't destroy it," I said. "I documented the wreckage. I made one mistake." "You planned to take everything I had while sleeping with a married woman for 8 months," I replied. "That's not a mistake. That's a campaign." He shook his head. "She manipulated me. I was vulnerable because you were never there." I met his eyes. "I was 3 tables away. You just didn't bother to look." The elevator dinged. I stepped inside. He didn't. 2 weeks later, I'm back in the house. It feels bigger now, quieter, like it's learning me again without him in it. I repainted the bedroom. Couldn't sleep surrounded by colors we chose together. Something about starting fresh felt necessary, even if it was just paint on walls. Financially, I'm down about $100,000 once you factor in legal fees. That's a hard number to swallow. But I'm 34. I make good money. I'll recover. The alternative was staying married to someone who saw me as a bank account with legs. His life looks different. From what I've heard through mutual acquaintances, he's still living with his mother. The apartment he'd been eyeing fell through. Apparently his credit isn't as solid without my income backing it. His affair partner blocked him everywhere after her divorce finalized. He's been calling her a coward to anyone who'll listen. His family is split. His father hasn't spoken to him since reading the texts. His mother blames me entirely and has apparently forbidden anyone from saying my name in her house. He texted me yesterday from a new number. I hope you're happy. You ruined my life. I read it, thought about it, then blocked that number too. He ruined his own life. I just refuse to let him ruin mine along with it. That restaurant photo is still in my phone. I should probably delete it, but sometimes I look at it and remind myself that wasn't revenge. That was protection. Without it, he could have rewritten everything. With it, his narrative collapsed instantly. Get evidence, get a good lawyer, don't engage, and trust your instincts. Because sometimes the end of your marriage doesn't come with shouting or slammed doors. Sometimes it sounds like a phone hitting a table. And sometimes the biggest moments of your life happen in a crowded restaurant, completely invisible to everyone except you.